start.
Yes, sir.
I should start the class
Yes, sir.
now because time is up and let the people come subsequently.
Yes, sir.
So, good morning, lady and gentlemen. So, today is the 5th class for learning and training analytics. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I will follow the similar process. I will show you few slides. And as we discussed, any queries, questions, if you have, you are free to ask in between also. Right?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We will start with PPT. And today's can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, repeating, I am Wing Commander K.K. Verma, author of the book Unlearn Before You Learn. And I am taking this class, Learning and Training Analytics. As well as a diploma in charge, I organize the complete today's class, as well as you must have seen email and WhatsApp messages sent. And then accordingly, I give you the feedback form also, so that you can submit the feedback form. In 5th class, if you see, other than course review and conclusions, today's task is basically ROI. It's a famous word in training or any basically operations, return of investments. And the return of investments, as you know, it's very important. Unless we get some return on investments, there is no need of keep conducting, doing something. So from that point of view, today's class is from what I feel is very important. And as I said, this paper, if you go through the contents, it's all based on 3 documents which have been given to you. Have you gone through those 3 documents?
Yes, sir.
I have generally mentioned about these 3 documents. The first document is about people analytics, driving business performance with people data. And that is where I generally try to give you some emphasis how to use the social sites, especially the social sites like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, because that is where, whether you agree or not agree, you may like or you may not like, but those social sites give the people data in plenty, because every day people go to some places, they update and they upload some picture or some content or some viewpoints. And even if they don't upload, they don't know. I mean, basically they are giving some information as well. If suppose somebody is not updating and they think they are hiding behind, so hiding behind is also one of the information reaches to the people. So those kind of people data which are in bulk basically, and that is where we all came to know about big data and those things which we studied in the earlier classes. And then move to document 2, which mainly focused on better talent management through workforce analytics. And that is where if we have a lot of people data, can we find out what are the talent management, or can we find out the talent of the people, the person who are more intelligent or have more talents, more skill. So all those questions came in picture. And I still remember the one thing, generally people think they could be 2 times better, 3 times better, or 10 times better, or 100 times better. No, talent could be like one person could be 1,000 times better than the other person. And that is what happens especially in the software industry. And the same thing happens in even entrepreneurship or business. because few people you think of can basically be so talented. They can start a company and then they make a profitable company, and that is a trend. This is not a once a while thing, like in 60s or 70s or 80s we only used to hear about, if you remember, Tata, Birla, even in business. Subsequently, by the time 90s came, we all know the Infosys came and Narayana Murthy became famous. We all, it happened in front of our eyes. I mean, we saw in 90s and first decade of 21st century. And then we all know about Ambani's. And now, nowadays, for last 5-10 years, we all listen about Adani's and other entrepreneur, businessmen who are doing great. So, not only in the software industry, the programmer talent is maybe 1,000 times better. Even in the business, if you find the talent could be, or is skilled, could be 1,000 times better than normal other person. So that is what we have to understand, and that is what was basically touched in the document too. So talent is not just he is 2 times better or 4 times better or 10 times better, but the person could be 1,000 times or 10,000 times better than other person. So that is where we have to find out, and we can find out with the help of these people data, which are given in the document one. They have discussed about, and they have discussed mainly about the social sites and other online activities which goes on with the people. And then comes the document three, and that is where the focus is for today's class, and it is about the measuring success. And measuring success, how will you measure success? Something you have succeeded or something you have failed, because you go through the ROI, return of investment, and that is very important in corporate training or even individual training or any group training. So even suppose you are working as a team or you are working as an individual, it is very important to find out ROI. And ROI, as a trainer, you must have read many a time. And when I will discuss, you will come to know about those evaluation methods and technique. So those can be used in basically the analyzing or evaluating the corporate training. And that evaluation is very important for anything you do, because you spend a lot of resources and time and energy in performing some training. And if you are not getting a return, then there is no benefit. So that is what is the focus for today's class. And that is given in the document. Is it okay? Have you gone through these documents?
I did, sir. I mean,
Yes.
yesterday I did.
Okay.
So
So you
I
can
understood, huh? I could understand that first one, first document, and then second one I read it. Not read it, but I went through the entire document page by page.
okay. And what about the third one?
Not yet.
Yet to go. Sudeep, have
Yeah.
you gone through the documents?
Yes, sir.
And this measuring success and ROI?
Yes, sir.
So I will mainly focus on today's this thing, and certainly if you have any, so you find anything in this document, any point you find which needs to be addressed.
Sir, not right now. I would like to understand the third one, and then I'll ask you. I mean, if I have a problem, I'll definitely ask you about it.
Sudeep, any point?
No, sir. Nothing as such.
Nothing else. We'll move forward.
Yeah.
So just giving this document detail is about measuring success and ROI in corporate training. Jitender has come. So welcome Jitender for the class. I hope. So This is the title of the document, and this is basically a paper. You know, paper when we write an article in the journals and other things. So this is the paper. Topic is measuring success and ROI in corporate training, and it is written by Kent Barnett. He is MBA, and John R. Mattox. He is PhD, and both are
Sir,
from Knowledge Advisor.
sir, good afternoon.
Jitendra, good afternoon. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
I hope things are okay with you.
Right now, things are stable now.
Okay, welcome. Right. So we are going through this presentation slides, and today's task, as I was talking about, it is ROI, return of investment in corporate training, right? So it is a 17-page PDF document with abstract and references. So like a normal paper, I think most of you, if you have tried, you must have written. You can write in journals. So like this paper was written, and this paper has been kept as a content for your this paper, right? Learning and training analytics. This is a 17-page PDF document, and I hope you can just go through it. But part of that, I can't say I will cover completely, but part of that important segments I will try to cover today in this ROI, to understand basically what is ROI. My emphasis is basically to understanding ROI, and then giving emphasis basically how you can ensure measuring success. That is very important. Okay. So this paper headings are divided in 10 different segments, starting from abstract, which I have not numbered it, then introduction, history, critical component for measuring corporate training, resources, measures, cultural readiness with your organization, example, conclusion, about author and references. So if you go through this 17-page document, you will find they are the different headings given. Now, if you go to abstract, the main 17-page documents, what it wants to give you, abstract, just to understand, because you must have a broader picture first, and then you try to follow and see the macro details to find out how the things are. The main in this paper is basically when measuring outcomes in corporate training, authors recommend that it is essential to introduce a comprehensive plan, especially when resources are limited and the company needs are vast. This is very common. Even either you do for the individual training, group training, or even in the company corporate training, you will find resources will remain very limited all the time, and then needs are vast, and in that you have to measure outcome of the corporate training, and that is where you have to focus on ROI, right? Authors examine each of their 5 critical components. So author feels there are 5 different components of ROI, or measuring success, measuring outcome, and those are starting from strategy, measurement models, what are the models we follow, then resources, how do we distribute the resources available to us, then measures, what are measures we take, and then cultural readiness. Because do you have a readiness, cultural readiness, basically to go through those rigorous process of evaluation? Because the moment you talk about evaluation, I mean, you start feeling frustration, you start feeling there are waste of resources, and generally even if some data are given in this paper, you will find not much resources are allocated for evaluation in general in the companies, and that is where the challenges are basically to make sure you evaluate correctly, and then cultural readiness are there. I mean, you really want to analyze and evaluate and improve things, because unless until you don't want to improve things, there is no need for evaluation. You see, evaluation anytime when you do, even you remember you were in school, colleges, or different courses, evaluation is always done basically with the thinking you will be upgraded. You will be like in schools, you remember, you evaluated it, you give exams just to pass the next class. So, but that time, I mean, it was the system is there. But in corporate, you will find every 6 months or 1 year when we do evaluation, or when we do the evaluation for the any training program, you will find people are generally not ready, and that is what the cultural readiness becomes very important. And the last point, it is useful in technology mediated programs. This paper talks about ROI, or measuring success, in technology mediated programs such as self-paced, web-based, online facilitated, and simulation courses. Gentlemen, you agree with me or not? Earlier also evaluation was there, ROI was there, but those were there in the manual system generally, when the online classes were not thought of, and self-paced, web-based, and online thing were not there. In a conventional way, the training took place, and then there was a evaluation. But when the things are different, and then evaluation becomes. So today, when we try to measure success or ROI, the return of investments, we will focus on basically these online things mainly. So in this 17-page documents, you will find we have given due attention to this changes which are there. Arnav, good morning. Are you getting us?
Yeah, afternoon, sir. Getting you.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining class.
Thank you. Apologies, got a little delayed. Had some preoccupation. So
Now we are going through the slide, and today's focus, as I say, is about ROI. You have any question from the earlier class, or any doubt about today's? Arnav?
none, sir.
No. So we will move ahead from abstract, then introduction. And in the introduction, the author has clearly mentioned, in today's environment, when we talk about the social sites and a lot of changes and uncertainty, basically what we mentioned, today's approach to measuring success in corporate training is a complex mix of theory and practices. And in red, I have mentioned about, it is mentioned in the documents, it's a trial and error. So if you want to evaluate your training program, you must be ready to go ahead with trial and error method, with key contributions derived from evaluation theory, instructional design, technology, statistics, and basic business processes, right? So this trial and error thing was generally not perceived earlier. Earlier, we used to, in HR activities, suppose we have some factors or indices, and then we just think, evaluate those indices and factors, and we didn't emphasize much on trial and error, because there were a lot of fixed information and fixed data. But when we are dealing with the big data, when we are dealing with the new things, I mean, this trial and error becomes very important. So perception of success also, because of changing scenario, perception of success vary. by organization and even within organization, as do methods of evaluation. So even perception of success, because for some success could be something different, for others success could be something different. So that also need to be analyzed, understood, and then take it further. So that is the challenge we all have in front of us, right? Okay. So the second point, the paper mentioned about history. And in history, it talks about instructional system design. And instructional system design, when you carry out ISD model, and you all remember AD model?
Yes, sir.
AD model,
Yes.
you remember, we discussed a lot about this. And whenever you design a training program, you go through these. First analyze, then design, then develop, implement, and then finally evaluate. And in paper 7, if you remember, those basically were the topic where we just focused on evaluation. And when today in this paper, when we talk about thinking about basically the evaluation, you will find there is one new term, total quality management, TQM, as a way to identify errors and act to eliminate them. So this total quality management, author feels this becomes a very significant methods or tool basically to identify error and act to eliminate them. So in paper 7, you remember we studied about the training, measurement, and evaluation. And in last class, we had all those papers. So we touched upon TQM, but not analyzed much. And in this paper, you will find they are being discussed and they are analyzed, right? So it's a Bramley and Newby also who proposes that evaluation serves 5 general roles. And in this 5 general roles, if you see, others are very common one, where it involves feedback, where it involves control, research, intervention. And there is another word which is given, power gains. In instructional system design, and Bramley and Newby proposes that evaluation serves 5 general roles. So when you do evaluation, it's okay. You go ahead with the feedback, you control, research, intervention, and then power gains. So I have emphasized with the red, the power gains. Can anybody tell about this, why this power gains is involved? Sudeep or anybody? Arnav?
Sir, I mean, I can only guess. Power games means power struggle between stakeholders who are powerful in the organization, who hold senior positions. Perhaps it is indicating that. I'm not
Right,
sure.
right. Your guess is absolutely right. I think. You can emphasize further. Like in any I mean training program, when you are talking about total quality management, you get feedback, you control, research, intervention, but then power games also comes in picture. Means lot of I mean people may be individually fighting for it to improve in a certain way. That what means?
Yeah, I mean, imposing your power and struggle to get the informal and formal power control in the organization. amongst senior stakeholders
Right.
is sometimes power games within the company.
Ha ha. So that is also very important. So in feedback or evaluation, you see that also plays a big role, and that is what is being talked about. In general, when we discuss, we generally ignore these, but in this article, it is written power game. Sudeep,
Yes, sir.
huh? Power game. Can you throw some light on this?
Sir, basically the top management or the leadership, they are fighting for the limited resources, and they have their own ways of handling the things.
Absolutely right. They handle in their style. No.
Yeah.
So evaluation also get affected basically of their style or their ideology. Is it?
Yeah.
So that also needs to be considered. No, it plays
Yeah.
a role.
Hmm.
And then this paper talks about government, military, and business leadership. In India, I have not seen this. I mean, mostly the people don't talk about in the civil articles or generally papers. I'm not sure if you have discussed about, but in this paper, it is talked about basically the training conducted in the defense forces, and they have given due emphasis on it, the way they conducted training in defense, because defense training is certainly it's very important, because you do the training there for do or die, not for basically you can survive and just carry on. So they have taken example from the defense. Do you think in India also? I mean, in civil normal in HR professionals, they give due attention to the way military training is conducted. Sudeep.
So military training is an entirely different ball game as far as India is concerned. A lot of I have met a lot of retired army officers or I mean defense force officials who have moved into training function, bringing about a new dimension so far as leadership training is concerned.
Right.
But not the other way around. Civilian trainers going and training military leadership, I have not heard of. Maybe it might be happening, but I'm not aware of. The other way around, it is very much there.
I'm not talking about those things, civilian going to military for the training. What I'm taking, you see, the defense forces, basically when the technology also came, the first it came to the defense forces.
Defense forces.
If you remember in 60s, 70s, 80s, or even today, I mean, because defense forces, they need sophisticated training. Sophisticated technology firsthand, basically, because that is what saves the country.
Yeah.
In India, the priorities was not that, basically, because even after independence, we didn't give that due emphasis to military technology per se. So you will find these things didn't happen, basically. Technology didn't go to defense, basically. Similarly, the leadership also, the leadership as such, because the leadership was needed in the defense forces, because there you have to train the people for do or die.
Yeah.
So what I'm talking about in HR professionals also, taking some cue from the way training is conducted in the defense forces. in
Yes, sir.
those difficult situations, and for the outcome, which is like a do or die, which is
Yeah.
ultimate, basically. Like you see, in the corporate, in HR, we think of training people and then equipping them with a new skill and new knowledge. We don't think of do or die, but that is what is written here. If you see, the soldiers are properly trained, but also when they are trained faster and more efficiently than enemy soldiers. So it is not only the soldiers have to be trained, the native soldiers, suppose this country soldiers, but they have to be trained faster than their enemy soldiers.
Hmm.
Similarly, in corporate also, that should be taken as a cue,
Yeah.
as an idea. We must train our professionals in any company. You talk about any company, better than or faster than your competitor.
Yeah.
Then only you will remain ahead and you will be able to beat your competitor. Ultimately, you see, the anything we do, the company objective and vision, if you keep it in mind, the vision should be the company must grow fast enough and must grow faster than their
Competitive.
competitor. If you see now the Patanjali, the company like Patanjali products which has come up, Baba Ramdev, you all must have heard about. So Baba Ramdev, when he comes to Astha channel, and he must be training their people. So they always, Baba Ramdev always keep telling audience or their followers, we have to beat HUL.
Yeah.
No? You see the famous company like all who are there in the consumer market today. So beating the competitor basically. And they say ki their company also going to rise and acquire the market much better than HUL. Right? So
Yeah.
those kind of basically the training is needed. So you may be in any company, that mindset must be developed. You must get training better than your competitor and faster than your competitor. You must learn the new skills and new information faster than your competitor can learn. And similar thing happens in among the colleagues and others, right? Jitender,
Yes, sir.
you have any point?
नो सर राइट जो बोला सही है
You say right. So this is about the, in this paper we have talked about. Okay. And as I mean, these things we are talking about in this paper also, because the digital disruptions which has already happened. I mean, earlier we were talking about this is going to happen or something like this has already happened. You all must be knowing about Uber, Airbnb, Skype, Alibaba, Facebook, Netflix, and Apple. And they are all basically have disrupted even Amazon, the way we have conducted our business. And that is what we have to take into account when we do the future training and future planning, right? Okay. So, what are the challenges industries face today? Like many things which has come up new. So, you must have heard about when internet came, the US postal system or postal system, because this is an article written by the US Northeastern University. So they talk about the US system, but in Indian context, if you see, we can talk about the Indian system also. When the internet came, I mean, we all have forgotten writing a postcard or envelope. We don't know. we may not have visited post office for a long time. So those basically have to now get reinvented. I mean, they have to find out the new way of doing a business. Similarly, when the cloud computing came, so because your mobile phone is connected to cloud and all the data are available on the cloud, your router, server, Cisco, Dell, HP, or whatever it is, those things have almost vanished and slowly going on. It's not in the market. Similarly, when the iPad came, the personal computer became the challenge. Similarly, e-commerce, as you all know, when it came, uh, these are the businesses which got affected. Firms, travel, retail, Walmart, Tesco, Carrefour, MX, all these became basically they faced the new challenges, new kind of challenges. Similarly, electronic readers came, a bookstore, publisher, and all these became the challenge. So for any technology or things which comes, you must think which are the industry which are going to suffer badly. Similarly, when mobile phone came, and our prime minister, he is a very tech savvy guy. He keep updating on Instagram and WhatsApp all the time. And sorry, this Facebook or Twitter. So almost on daily basis, you see, and he tells clearly, now your mobile phone is becoming a purse. Your money is basically the you can go to anywhere and do purchasing, sale, and your mobile phone becomes your purse. So credit card and traditional
So
telecom.
mobile wallet, sir. Mobile wallet.
Sir,
Virtual
now even UPI has come, and UPI is probably one of the most India's, I mean, the biggest inventions in terms of, purchase and selling everything. You can do anything from anywhere in the world.
Very good, very good. So when the new technology comes, so those things become a challenging actually. And the prime minister have been emphasizing for last 2-3 years, especially when the pandemic came. I mean, he kept on shouting basically the what we call touchless, contactless transactions, contactless transactions, and that is what happened, and that became the reality. So any conventional thing like earlier we were doing the cash transactions, so certainly that started minimizing day by day, and that still challenges are going on. That transition is going on. When we are talking, the transition is going on across the globe and especially in India, because Indian government, they have given due emphasis basically having the digital spread across the country. And even the digital thing, when we talk about the mobile phones, you see, it's not only restricted to the tier 1 or metro cities, even the tier 2 cities or smaller cities, they have got affected. And even the e-commerce, they are affecting all those regions. So in this context, you all must think as a homework, what your firm, what is the magnitude of shift in your industry. So you may be from any industry. With these changes like internet, mobile phone, digitization, electronic reader, e-commerce, you must evaluate and analyze how your company gets affected, how your company, your industry gets affected, right? So those things you must keep it in mind, and then analyze correctly, right? You find something has changed.
Yes, sir. I mean, I could give a term to it, a paradigm shift in terms of, when COVID happened and now where we are.
So what happened? How
So
the
a lot of things
changes?
happened. Yeah, everything changed. I mean, our daily routine has changed.
Daily routine also has changed.
Yeah.
In what way?
Sir, okay. So, So if I have to do a payment, okay, I have to book a cab, or I mean, it's just more easier and much more time saving. I have to say it's time saving when I have to, if I have to join a class or if I have to do anything, it's online, entirely online. I am not really meeting people anymore because
Okay.
all I'm more fixated on is technology.
Okay. You are having a online discussion, online meetings.
Yes, I mean, even in my office, when I started out, COVID happened. So which is
Okay.
why my joining had to get, it got delayed for 1 year.
Okay.
So yeah, I
1 year.
mean, we got selected last year, 2020. Actually, COVID came, okay, in India. And they said, no, we won't be doing that. So we went for internships and everything. And then once this year in April, we got selected, everything shifted. So at first, we used to meet clients, we used to meet all the candidates, in person. We used to have an in-person conversation, we used to have in-person meetings, we used to have in-person assessments with the people. But now what has happened is it's only, we have Outlook now. Pehle we never used to use Outlook.
You
Now
are
we
in
only use
which
Outlook.
company? You have joined which company?
So it's an executive search company. It's called Executive Access. So we're basically into consulting, and I'm only into leadership roles. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I can understand now that everything is technology based. So we started out as something that we used to meet those clients on a daily basis. कि गुड़गांव में है बंदा तो मिल के आओ. Now it's more like अरे टीम से मीटिंग लगा दो कोई दिक्कत नहीं, it's fine. It's
Okay.
like that.
So
I mean, a lot of personal characteristics change, when you have to
are
talk
you
to someone.
working from home?
No, sir. No, sir.
No.
Now
You
we're
go
not,
to
but
office.
again,
You go to office, but still there also you use technology for the other purposes.
सर हम
Like-
एक ही केबिन, मतलब एक मेरा कलीग केबिन में बैठता है, मैं सामने टेबल पे बैठती हूँ, मतलब साइड में, एंड वी स्टिल
Okay.
डोंट हैव कांटेक्ट. It's like that.
Okay.
So it's like that. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things have changed. I mean, the amount of freedom that you would have in terms of connecting with that person professionally, that has minimized a lot because you have so many limitations to technology also.
Right. So you keep evolving basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that is what I think in present circumstances, I think we all should focus on how these things are forcing us to change. And even amidst this pandemic came, so we found, I mean, I don't know, many of you must have given attention to this. Our government kept on working basically through the online meetings and online programs, and they conducted on ground various activities simultaneously. So that is the way the company also have to do, and all individual also have to basically adjust with the changing of things. All right. So third part is the critical components for measuring corporate training. And they talk about the critical components for measuring corporate training. And we'll discuss the critical components subsequently. And three stages could be: first, measurement strategy. What should be the strategy? Where we discussed about whether it is a meeting compliance and whether we want to give a due emphasis on values, and or it's a mixed one. And then the second one comes theoretical framework. What are the measurement models? You remember the measurement models, different models we studied in paper 7?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So those comes here in the second one, theoretical framework, where we will discuss about the models. And then leading indicators. So these are the mainly three important critical components for measuring corporate training, and those we will discuss subsequently. Right?
Okay, sir.
So as Sudeep said, he remembers this evaluation methods, and this you all must be remembering. we studied the Kirkpatrick 4 level of evaluation for training and impact, Kaufman's 5 level of evaluation of training and impact. Then we had a Ciro's 4 level of evaluation of training impact. And then we had Phillips 5 level ROI framework to evaluate training impact. So these are the 4 important training evaluation methods we remember we had read about. So I will not repeat this, but certainly, I mean, this is what we have studied earlier. Okay. Now coming to 5 critical components of measuring corporate training, and it all starts from develop a measurement strategy. I mean, if you see, we in this paper they are talking about those 5 critical components, and in actual what they are doing, they have mentioned about. So first, develop a measurement.
Hello.
Sudeep. All right. So
Yes,
develop,
background noise एक आ गया था.
right. So develop a measurement strategy and mainly re-examine the compliance and value strategy. So that is what is done, and then apply a measurement framework. So in this particular paper, if you see, they have used the Phillips ROI methodology as a core approach for measurement. In the previous slide, if you see the 4 methods we have seen, in this paper they are talking about, they have used the Phillips ROI methodology. In that, the 4 level will be like Kirkpatrick, and the 5th one is ROI. And then align resources. Then in align resources means, as we all know, the resources remains always limited, but expectations are very high. So you have to align the resources. Either you do the full-time measurement expert hired, expert one, one expert person is hired, and then they conduct those evaluation. So you have to align resources, basically whatever resources you are available and how much money you are ready to invest, that should be you should align the complete resources, so that evaluation becomes the integral part of your process. And right, then select measures. In select measures, basically standard evaluation questions are selected. You set the questions to evaluate, basically, and try to make it standard, and then you must make sure how those questions are answered, and those answered are basically used as a analysis, for analysis, right? And then develop cultural readiness, as I mentioned in the beginning also, because evaluation is very important. Unless we are ready to change, unless we are ready to improve, so we have to put leaders on board from the start, and we have to keep giving a loop, bring them in loop, so that they don't miss out. And then the cultural readiness, basically, among employees, they are ready to improve things. Otherwise, generally what happens, we follow the moment we comment on any drawback or flaw in the methods, we will find there is a lot of resistance. So that must be avoided, right? Okay. Now, after this 5 critical factors, we come to resources. And when we talk about resources, it could be the financial or human resources, or even the system which we make that acts as a resource. So financial, basically, for high quality evaluation. I mean, you see, evaluation is not a very easy task. You have to have really an expert who does the analysis. And naturally, they will be costly. The person spends time in analyzing. Generally, that's how the evaluation goes in a back seat, basically, because the high quality evaluation can be done only by the expert. An expert is naturally will be very costly to hire. So you will see serious money is involved, basically, when we want to do evaluation, and especially correct evaluation. So in this, they have given significant amount of emphasis on this, and you have to do a lot of good investments. Similarly, human resources. Human resources are needed, among other things, to set the strategy, administer the system, and build capacity to exploit the data. So it is very important, and human resources becomes very important, especially in the sense we have to recognize talents, and not only recognize talents, we have to preserve those talents. We have to use those talents in a different activities, what we need, basically, to enhance. And there we need to basically build capacity to exploit data, because you see, unless we build a capacity, it is very difficult for anyone to use those data, basically. And when we talk about the big data is a really complex issues. A lot of hit and trial methods have to be adopted, and a lot of time has to be invested, basically, to understand those big data, and then we make out the outcome, a real outcome, fruitful outcome, and that becomes the challenge, right? So coming to systems, so systems are required to make the measurement process scalable. You see, in that, to make it scalable, I mean, they are talking about Barnett and Burke suggest that scalable systems cover four practical data needs. That is collection, storage, processing, and reporting. So first you collect the data, store the data, and then process the data, and then prepare a reporting. So in this way, basically, resources has to be managed: financial, human resources, and systems. So in your evaluation process also, whenever you think of, I mean, these steps need to be followed, right? One more thing I would like to touch upon: this build capacity. Administer the system is okay. Human resources are needed, among other things, to set the strategy. Build capacity to exploit this data. So build capacity, basically, when we talk about, this could be in different forms, different form. So this, how this capacity is built. I mean, you all are in HR and training. You see, when we talk about building a capacity to achieve some target, can you put across the points how this capacity is built? Anyone? Sudeep? Hello.
Sir,
Jitendra, हाँ बोलिए. I mean, I have been talking about capacity building.
sir, what I understand, what you told to us, that is capacity building. It is all about the person who's doing the work with full efficiency to build up that capacity on a regular basis,
It's a regular process.
regular person. Because training, you can't say that if we conduct a training and you will bring out the result in a one day or one time. It is a continuous process. Sometimes one day training can be held for one particular thing, and second time training will be help to another thing. So we
Right.
can't assure that for one training, one classroom training will be enabled to all participants in all parameters.
Uh-huh. So, what do you understand by this capacity building? Basically, especially in terms of talent management. I mean, no?
So it is basically the developing the KSA, knowledge, skill, and aptitude.
Right, right. So, how generally we are focusing on developing it? I mean, capacity building.
That is through regular training and development initiatives.
Right. So some strategy is needed or some direction
Yeah.
is needed, because that is what the main focus. That is where we get lost actually.
Yeah.
Suppose some person talks about in this direction we should build a capacity. Some other person will talk about in some other direction build a capacity, because ultimately it takes a long time basically. So those how do you manage those things? And I
So
mean,
it
from
is-
your point of view,
It is
how
basically derived from the long-term strategy of the company.
right?
So strategy, then what are the deliverables, what are the measuring points, and from there we derive, I mean, the performance of the overall company, and then the kind of skill set that we need in the company. So from that we derive through PMS, through what you call skill gap analysis. So these kind of tools help us in identifying what direction we will be giving to our the training initiatives, and based on that the measurables are identified, and then the programs are rolled out.
Okay, right. So basically, you have to find out the gap,
Yeah.
skill gap,
Skill
what
gap.
you have mentioned.
Yeah.
So I think we have Arnav among us. Arnav,
Yeah, sir. I think yes.
how,
Training.
how, how do we define, how do we find this skill gap basically in the long term?
I would say not only skill gap, sir, for talent and retaining them. I mean, I'm saying it from HR perspective, and there are a few team members in this group also who are from HR background. It is also identifying the right talent, then having a learning and development framework, long-term framework for them. Also having a framework of identifying their motivation level through psychometric analysis time to time.
Okay.
Are they still interested in being part of the organization? Is the excitement level same? What will excite them to remain long term in the organization? How is the market enticing key talent? Succession plan, which is also part of retaining the talent. Or if the talent is not there, who would be replacing the person, are some challenges which human resource are facing these days. And they have to be very alert about the market situation. For example, if there is a key person, what the market can offer him, who all are the competitors who can be in touch with him. So all this is something which HR today is very alive and active, which I see these days.
Right.
They do many things other than definitely training and development, and the skill gap identification is critical. but they are very active and they are very much more proactive as a department now compared to 10 years or 6 years back. I think it is much more proactive as a department.
So what we mentioned about the game, I think in the earlier slide, we mentioned about the game. You remember?
Yeah, power game. Yeah.
Power game.
Mhm.
Power game was the part of this. So
Correct.
even
Correct.
even in retaining talent, that plays a very significant role.
Right. Right.
Basically.
Both internal and external factors, sir. I think HR is very much active these days. They see what is happening internally. They see what is happening externally to same position, a critical position in an organization.
Right.
This is something my observation, not through reading or learning anything. Or practically, I've seen HR is being very proactive, ensuring success for the organization.
Then you are right. I mean, because everything is changing, so HR fraternity also have to change in the new perspective, and that is what I think we are mostly trying to talk about, building capacity.
Correct.
So
Correct.
HR fraternity basically have to build capacity. So either, as you said, besides skill gap finding out, you have to find out where the competitors are looking for the talents. So suppose you have a talent in your company. So as a HR professional, you must be very careful about who all in the touch. That is what I think you mentioned. Very nice point. So human resources have to be not only monitored, preserved, retained, but you have to see how they build a capacity further. And there, I think the question of other thing comes, promotion, succession, and all those things. So those also plays significant role, right? As we read in the history, basically, when we talked about the total quality management, this Bramley and Newby proposes the evaluation serves 5 general roles, and one was the feedback, control, research, intervention, and power games. So that is what we generally come across those things, right? Okay. Any other point? Shall we move ahead? Measures. So what are the measures taken? Is there optimizing performance, or actual measures used within an organization are determined by the strategy and model, or Baudry Romstead, who offer the HR bridge framework with a focus on 3 important group of measures: efficiency, effectiveness, and outcomes. So you remember in the last class also I had shown this slide with revolving around efficiency, effectiveness, and outcomes. And there basically we are trying to find out optimizing performance. And optimizing performance is very important. And there we must have a system basically which helps us to optimize either individual performance or team performance or even the company performance. And that is what we should try to focus on. In this paper, they have discussed about this, and they have shown one slide also, right? You remember this? Talent development optimization. So monitor and report, analyze, improve, set goals. So every time you set goals, little higher and differently. Okay. And then it's mainly based on efficiency, effectiveness, and then outcomes. and then you look for optimizing. Okay. Sudeep,
Yes, sir.
can you throw this light on this efficiency, effectiveness, and outcome? So set goals,
Yeah.
and then monitor and report, analyze, improve. Do we do such thing? And how difficult it is in a company basically to go ahead with these kind of evaluation?
I think
And
most of the progressive companies, they are following this kind of model, because
Okay.
annual targets are set. I mean, at the corporate level, you have the strategies which is the driving force for all the systems. So
Uh-huh.
from that, the departmental or functional goals are set, and from that we derive the individual goals. So all are interlinked. Periodical review is happening. Nowadays the system is that with the advent of online monitoring system, daily performance is being monitored,
Okay.
and analysis is done to find out if there is any performance gap. The reasons are analyzed and the solutions are found, so that this system is improved and efficiency is enhanced of the individual employees, and then the overall productivity of the organization is kept at the optimum level. And
So,
this is
one or two things if we talk about, do we face resistance when we try to improve, when we try to change people? I mean, when
Of
we
course.
try to tell people to change their way of working or something.
Yeah, happens.
So how do you deal with those things? Because in evaluation that becomes very tricky.
Critical, yeah.
Writing report is a one thing,
Yeah.
but as a HR professional, suppose you tell someone you do this thing to improve, he will say, no, you are not aware. This is the way only can be done. And this is my way.
That inertia is there. So I'll share an example. I did a workshop on the performance management system for HUDCO.
Okay.
The house, so that company. So they had the old system, that what you call confidential report kind of system.
Right.
And because of the ministry's insistence, they had to move to the target setting and stuff like that. So I faced a lot of resistance. Target kaise set karenge, har cheez ka I cannot measure it, especially from HR or service function. कि मैं set कैसे करूं? I mean, how do I measure effectiveness? So the only thing is, guiding them, hand holding them, communicating with them, regular interaction, and through communication and what do you call, taking care of pursue. Yeah, you have to pursue a lot. Unka jo doubt hai, dar hai, basically there is an apprehension in their mind.
Apprehension.
Ye cheez, this will be used not for my development, but for finding out non-performance, and then I'll be thrown out of job. So ye is type ka dar ko hatana, that is the basic thing that any organization has to do, because any change throws a fear. So how do we address that fear of the employees? That becomes critical. And the only way is regular interaction, hand holding, and एक example बना के दिखाना कि भाई ये आपके development के लिए use किया जाएगा, not against you.
Right.
So that is how it's a, I mean, time-taking process, but happens.
Okay. But mainly you see the problem we see, especially the HR professionals must be facing the problem, like every time you have to, when we do evaluation, you set the goals differently.
Yeah.
You set the goal higher. And
not just higher, sir. Usme, matlab, the measures are different. For example, HR wale ko, I have seen even senior people, they cannot quantify the contribution they have made to the organization in terms of money. वो concept ही नहीं है. So in lot of functions, especially service function, quantification is not done.
Right.
So that becomes difficult. Usko, that mindset changing, that takes a lot of time.
No, you are talking about the people involved in HR activities.
Not just HR, sir, any activity, because for example, even in line function, a manager, agar he is reducing the what you call absenteeism in his department,
Okay.
there is a monetary benefit to the organization which he is adding. Now वो ये तो लिख वो ये लिख सकता है कि I have saved this much manpower, but वो money terms में कितना आ रहा है वो नहीं दिखा पाते हैं.
Yeah, that is always a issue.
हाँ.
So that contributions remain an issue.
Yeah.
It means one more serious thing comes, I think, when we do the right kind of evaluation. They suppose there are some talented person and they are doing the work sincerely. But as you said, it could be in HR, it could be in a field on operations or sales or any department.
Yeah.
The guy is doing the job very sincerely. He knows. But suppose even if we comment, so that talent gets hurt up to some extent. How do you manage those things? How do you manage those things? Because many a time what happens as a HR professional, you may not be aware, but then you have to recognize the talent in the individual.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with those challenges?
इसमें सर the 360-degree approach जो है, that is the best one.
Right.
You are collecting data, you are collecting details about every individual from different possible sources.
Okay. So opt for various options.
Various options.
Various type of feedback actually.
And
So
plus interaction with the employee and hand holding. Because new methods have to be also taught to him. Spoon feeding हमेशा तो नहीं होगा ना. So he has to be taught.
Yeah. You can't do it all the time.
All the time.
They have to work independently. So you can set a process or system once. You can write some strategy once. You can't always intervene.
Yeah.
So that remains a challenge actually.
Challenge, yeah.
And I find, I mean, basically transmitting those challenge, I mean, those quality is very difficult issue.
तो इनिशियल में वही है, वो रेजिस्टेंस को तोड़ना through communication, regular interaction, hand holding. That is the support that we have to provide. That's the only way I feel.
Okay. No, because I deal with the training all the time and I keep, I mean, basically talent or excellence at a very high level. I set the target myself very high and then move on. Basically, then I find all these are a very serious issue actually.
Yes.
Because how do you measure success? How do you find this is the goal you have to set? And then generally the focus also moves. So you always divert. Even if suppose you are required to move in this particular direction, you try to move it there also. So basically the, what do we call in loose terms, we call it, I mean, basically you lose focus. We use the term mindfulness. So that the focus is not there. So how do you bring basically the focus back? That remains a huge challenge actually.
Yeah.
And those challenges are always there, right?
Yeah.
So whenever we talk about this, basically the strategy part, I think we all have a very different opinion. And not only we have a different opinion, because we have access to different sources. So a lot of information keep puzzling us. So that also needs to be avoided, because you can't take up a lot of information. We talk about the air pollution and we talk about the polluted water, but we have not seriously talked about the information pollution, knowledge pollution, or wisdom pollution. I think those, from my point of view, those pollutions are more serious than what we generally talk about, the air or water pollution. I mean, we think we have given very due emphasis or over emphasis basically on air pollution. When the people are too busy in seeing their WhatsApp and getting the information, and basically it's a information pollutions they get, and so people remain very confused. They are unable to set their goals. They are unable to monitor. They are unable to analyze. They are unable to improve. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
So, what is your this thing? Pollution, information pollution, the views, especially when you are talking about this evaluation, because the sources are plenty. I think that is what confuses us most.
Sources
No?
are many, and we are not able to find out which is the genuine or authentic ones,
Correct. And which is the fake one?
which are the fake one. Fake ही ज़्यादा है.
Fake ही ज़्यादा है, वो अलग. So it basically disturbs us.
हाँ.
It generally, I find most of the people, they are so disturbed, not because they don't have a knowledge, they don't have information, they don't have a wisdom. They have everything, but they have too many wisdom. They have too much knowledge,
True.
and those becomes very confusing, right?
Yeah.
Jitendra,
तो सर
you had something to say.
सर
ये-
जनरली क्या होता है कि एक्सपेक्टेशन सबकी होती है, बट प्रोसेस को कोई नहीं जानना चाहता है. जैसे अभी सर ने बोला ना, सुदीप सर ने बोला कि ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम से ज्यादा उनको ये हिडन फियर था कि अगर हमारे ओपिनियंस बाहर आ गई तो हमको थ्रोन आउट कर दिया जाएगा सिस्टम से. इसलिए सब लोग जब भी वो ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम में आते हैं प्रिटेंड करने की कोशिश करते हैं, आई नो एवरीथिंग सर, टेबल के इस साइड आपको नहीं मेरे को होना चाहिए था.
इसका तो एक बहुत ही लफड़ा है, मतलब एवरीबॉडी फील्स
सर
डिफरेंटली.
ये प्रॉब्लम मेरी नहीं है. आई थिंक जितने भी ट्रेनर्स हैं वो सबको पता होगा कि जिस दिन पहले दिन हमारा इंटरेक्शन होता है, वो अलग बात है कि फोर्थ डे हमारा इंटरेक्शन चेंज हो जाता है एज पर द नॉलेज एंड कन्वर्सेशन. बट फर्स्ट डे यही लगता है अरे ट्रेनर आया ज्ञान देके जाएगा.
So sources are many actually, and they generally confuse us. So how to decide about the source and the true knowledge? Any idea? Anupama? It could be the personal opinion basically. I mean, which may help all of us to get that clarity. Right? I think we'll just move. Okay. So the sixth point is cultural readiness within your organization. And there also you see the evaluation capacity building, ECB. Capacity building I have mentioned about, and evaluation capacity building is also very important. The extent to which an organization has the necessary resources and motivation to conduct, analyze, and use evaluations. As I think Arno talked about this motivation to conduct this evaluation. From where you get basically the Halley pre-skill a thought leader on the topic, has published a multidisciplinary model of ECB, evaluation capacity building, which conceptualizes evaluation, knowledge, skills, and attitude required to produce a sustainable evaluation practice while accounting for the influence of leadership, culture, system, structures, and communication. So that is what I think I was trying to put across. How do you build a capacity to sustainable evaluation practice, knowledge, skills, and attitude? How are you going to build? So in this itself, a measurement maturity model which have been given for the basically the evaluation, and that is the graph is given here, where you will find in at the first level no consistent method. Second level, there is a consistent basic approaches, so that part is clear. At third level, there is a comprehensive method strategically deployed, so that is at third level. But at fourth level, it's basically integrated into business processes, and that is what becomes very important. And at fifth level, there is a continual improvement of evaluation process. So that is the way this article basically talks about. And we must try to, in organization, we must try to, or even in the individual capacity, we must try to achieve this continual improvement of evaluation process at the fifth level. And that is what we need to do. So now the question comes, evaluation capacity building. How do we achieve that evaluation capacity building? What are the important point we need to focus on? Any contributions? Anyone?
No, sir.
This achieving this 5 level of evaluation, basically capacity building, is not an easy job. Even at the individual level, I have seen even the small organization or even the big organization, it's not an easy job. It's a very tedious process. And as Sudeep mentioned, even if suppose somebody contributes, how do you know that guy has contributed? Because it is not very easy to evaluate. So his contribution in the outcome becomes a very hazy, right? And as the things are changing fast, the old questions are becoming irrelevant, and new focus, new questions are being asked. Is our top talent in strategic position thrilled with our firm? So when we talk about the communication, I mean, that is what we need to ask. So these are the things which we need to ask. I think we will touch upon these again in the next class as well, and we'll see how this helps us to make a better strategy to achieve the target or achieve the goal, a better training. So we should not forget the authors who wrote this article, Kent Barnett and John R. Mattox. John R. Mattox. Okay. Kent Barnett is the chairman and CEO of Knowledge Advisor, and this paper is basically has come from Knowledge Advisor. Director of Research at Knowledge Advisor, John R. Mattox. Right? So I yesterday took the paper written by these two authors, and that is what is the all about this today's class. Okay. So never feel hesitant about measuring success, and that is ROI, because analytics without ROI will remain waste of time and resources for individual as well as business for 21st century. That is for sure. Any question? Thank you. Anybody? Any question?
Noted, sir.
Huh? You can switch on your video also if you want. Yes. जितेंद्र आप बड़ा उदास दिख रहे हो, बट
हाँ,
कोई
sir.
नहीं.
Situation.
अर्णव, are you there? अनुपमा?
I'm there, sir. वीडियो में थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम है तो स्विच कर नहीं
अच्छा,
पाऊंगा, but we
okay.
can talk. हाँ।
तो 4 बजे क्लास आएंगे आप?
हाँ सर, मैं भी होऊंगा, लेकिन ओनली थिंग मैं ट्रैवल कर रहा हूँ तो मैं टैक्सी में होऊंगा उस वक्त, तो
अच्छा।
बीच बीच में कंट्रीब्यूट कर पाऊंगा, कभी नहीं कर पाया तो आप समझ लीजिएगा कि वो ट्रैवल की वजह से नहीं कर पा रहा।
नहीं, कोई नहीं, आप कनेक्ट कर लेना, मैडम को अच्छा लगेगा.
Sure,
ठीक
sir.
है. एंड अनुपमा,
Yes, sir.
एनी क्वेश्चन?
अभी क्वेश्चन सर कैसे, मेरा पहला क्लास अभी मैंने अटेंड किया है वैसे.
पहला क्लास था. अच्छा, तो
हाँ.
इसके बाद 2 बजे टैलेंट मैनेजमेंट होगा, so kindly be available.
Yes,
Jitendra,
sir.
are you going to be there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
sure,
sir.
sir.
I'm here.
Okay. So
I'll try to go through a little bit of syllabus, the documents that I downloaded for talent management also.
okay. So two, Jitendra and Anupama will come for the talent management, and Arnav and Sudeep, you will come for
The OD one, yeah.
OD and change management.
Yeah.
So we will touch upon these electives. So this is what about the today's class. Any question? You are always free to ask me, WhatsApp me, or right?
Yeah.
So whatever it is.
So
And
can we get that PDF, complete PDF file with the presentation that you shared?
yeah, you will get. I will send.
Sure.
I will send the PDF to you whenever you are
So
ready.
this one is
to-
already mentioned, right, in the website. ISTD में study material में सारे PDFs दे रखे हैं.
नहीं, वो इसका दे के रखे हैं, वो इसका मांग रहा होगा ना,
This article,
ये
yeah.
मेरे पेपर
Okay.
का,
Okay.
नहीं, मेरे
Yes,
पेपर
sir.
का ना.
Yes, sir. Yes.
हाँ, that you will get. That you will get without fail. So पहले चूंकि जरूरत नहीं पड़ते लोगों को, तो मैं नहीं भेजता हूँ. बाकी otherwise it's available. My PDF are not confidential information and it is free. और even
83 बैच में तो आप भेज दीजिए, आप पूछिए ही मत.
नहीं, मैं भेज दूंगा अभी, क्योंकि अब
अभी भेजिए.
असाइनमेंट वगैरह का भी टाइम आ गया ना. And I will request all of you to complete the assignment as soon as possible.
तो मेरे को भी टाइमलाइन मेरा सेम ही है ना, सेकंड सेमेस्टर का भी जो है वो भी
सेकंड
मैं.
सेमेस्टर का भी असाइनमेंट देना है.
यस सर,
हाँ.
मेरा
हाँ, तो उसको भी आप
20
दे.
से पहले हाँ सारे सबमिट करने हैं ना. हाँ.
तो आप थोड़ा ओवर टाइम वर्क करो और सारे असाइनमेंट जमा कर दो टाइम पे. That will be good, and then you will be ready for the exams.
Yes sir.
Okay.
Yes sir.
And then as I
एग्जाम
said,
प्रोबेबली कब से होगा सर? एग्जाम प्रोबेबली कब से होगा? थर्ड सेमेस्टर का
एक आइडिया.
जनरली दिसंबर में होना चाहिए, हो सकता है थोड़ा पोस्टपोन हो जाएगा तो जनवरी में होगा.
जनवरी में होगा
100%.
और सर प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट का सबमिशन टाइमिंग क्या है?
वही एग्जाम के बाद ही बोला सर ने, स्टार्टिंग में नहीं पूछा.
रिपोर्ट यू सी, जब आपका एग्जाम हो जाएगा फिर उसका रिजल्ट आएगा, उससे पहले आप प्रोजेक्ट भी जमा कर, सो दैट प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट का भी जमा करने में इट मे टेक ए मंथ टाइम फॉर गेटिंग ए रिजल्ट फॉर द प्रोजेक्ट. तो प्रोजेक्ट भी आप शुरू कीजिए सो दैट यू कैन फिनिश द कोर्स इन टाइम. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट ईयर ऑल यू 83 बैच गाय, आई विश you all go to the podium to collect your certificate.
Yeah.
Right? So all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
sir.
Thank you sir. Thank you so much.
do well. Bye bye. Have lunch and then come. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.